This video is brought to you by Sporlan. Quality, integrity, and tradition. Okay, so we've got a complaint that we've got a warm walk-in box, and this is a convenience store. Listen to that sound. I bet you anything that we're low on refrigerant right now. That to me sounds like an expansion valve. So we're gonna jump on the roof and check out the condensing unit. I don't see any ice present. So this is my condensing unit right here. So it's running. It's an R22 unit. We're gonna open everything up. So I just shut it down, but it was definitely flashing. I like to pay attention when I take service caps off. First thing is look at this one. You want to look to make sure that the caps have the O-rings. This one does. There's definitely some oil inside the cap, which is an indication that there is refrigerant leaking out of that, but I don't see oil around it. So the cap might be stopping it. Because once I put my gauges on here, it's going to be hard to leak check those ports. And this one doesn't have an O-ring at all. And there's definite oil around it, but there's no oil on the fitting. So we're gonna definitely not stop with that, but we're gonna check everything. So yeah, I'm just looking to see if I see anything obvious, and I don't. This one's gonna suck because it's an R22 unit, so it's gonna be a bit pricey. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and gauge up and check it out. Okay, definitely low. R22. So before I add gas to this unit, I'm gonna look for a refrigerant leak. So what's happening is the headmaster's bypassing. It's hard to say whether it's just short the winter charge or whether it's the full charge of the system. So it's kind of hard. Judging by the size of that receiver, this is going to be at least an 18-pound charge, total charge for this unit at least, if not more. So I'm going to do a quick leak check before I go any further, and then that'll determine where we're going to go with this. To do a leak check, what I'm doing is I equalized out my gauges, turned the system off, and opened up the high side and the low side, so I'm equalizing the pressures between the two. And then I'm going to go start at the evaps and check for leaks, anything jumping obvious. In here, you know, I'm just kind of looking for signs of oil. There's a mechanical fitting, I don't see anything. I'm looking for something obvious right now, and then we'll start getting into the nitty-gritty, but I don't see any oil marks or anything on that condenser. No big oil marks on the condensing, or I mean the refrigeration lines. Nothing really in here that's jumping out and scaring me at the moment. So we're looking for a pretty good accumulation of oil, more than likely. So we'll go look at the expansion valves and the evaporators. So we're looking for obvious signs, and notice there's oil all up in there, and I can hear it. This is one that I didn't even have to get out the leak detector. It's a big old fat leak right on that. Big boy right back in there. They should have let me focus on that. So it's hard to get it on camera, but it is leaking right in here. I'll put my fingers on. So it's a weldable leak. You can put a braze joint on it. I'm just going to put a bunch of solder in here. I did inform the customer that, you know, the copper's really starting to pit out and rot away, and it's something they're going to need to consider some kind of a replacement eventually, but you know, we're okay for now. I'm going to go ahead and put a braze joint on there, and then vacuum the unit down, change the liquid dryer, and I will also check the other coil too for leaks, but this one's so big right now that I want to get this one fixed, and then we'll go from there. You also got to be careful too when you have something this old. When you light that torch, you can create other leaks too, but we'll do our best to get them running. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I went ahead and closed the valves on my gauges. The pressures did equalize out. I'm going to go ahead and front seat the king valve on the receiver. That one has a pack in there. Loosen that packing up first before I go too far. There we go. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. Just kind of leaking out the top. Okay, so the way that I have this set up, that's my liquid line down there. I've got access on the service valve on that, and then I have got my suction line open up here on the roof. So we should be purging nitrogen, and we are. There's a small nitro purge coming out of this. You may be able to hear that. So very small nitro purge coming out. I'm using this Western Enterprises regulator. It does all right. It does what I need it to. So anyways, we're gonna go downstairs and sand up that joint and lay a bead of solder on it and try to clean it up. I'm going to sand the whole fitting because the braze joint is going to encompass everything. So you want to make sure you cover your bases. Oh man, that is going to be an ugly one. There's a lot of nastiness on that thing. That is an ugly bugger to get in there and get that extra stuff. I almost need like a rotary tool or something to get in there and sand that. Same here on the top. Leaking right up top right there. I'm over here struggling to sand this. Milwaukee 12 volt. Check out them apples. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. Little die grinder, whatever you want to call it. Dremel copy. That worked out really well. That little thing kicked ass, man. It got it shiny clean. It's kind of hard to get in there and see that, but boy, that's good. So we're gonna lay a fat bead right across that, all over that whole thing. Went crazy with it, trying to seal up anything. All on the top. Hopefully we didn't cause any other leaks. We'll do a nitro pressurize right now. Okay, so I'm letting the nitrogen out of the low side right now. Remember, high side still has normal R22 in it, low side has the nitrogen. Did a pressure test and a leak test. So once that's done, we're gonna hook up the vacuum pump. Now, this is an instance where I'm not gonna get my big fancy hoses out because we're not gonna get a perfect vacuum on the system, number one. Anytime you have a pump down system, especially with old valves like these, they always leak by. So you're never gonna get the ideal vacuum, and this is not gonna take very much time to vacuum this down. Plus, on top of that, I guarantee this unit has more leaks. So, and it's also raining right now, so I'm not gonna change the dryer. We'll come back and do that. I just wanna get it dehydrated as best as possible, and we'll come back and change the dryer. We'll bring it up to the customer and see if they want to do an equipment replacement or whatever. I'm just trying to get them operating right now and trying to get out of the rain as soon as possible. It's not like pouring rain, but it's just enough to annoy the heck out of you and everything's wet. So, and another thing too is that, you know, since this was a pump down system, there's still refrigerant that's boiling out of the oil the entire time. So in all reality, you know, there's still refrigerant pushing out of the system. So, but I always, you know, stress to change the dryer whenever you open up a system. And I'm gonna come back, but unfortunately, because it's raining, I don't want to do it right now. So, side glass is running clear, liquid line level, and the receiver is good. I'm gonna get some new caps for these guys, and then yeah, we're just kind of wrapping it up. Okay, we're back up and running. System's charged. It's coming down in temp, getting cool in here. I'm gonna open up this coil, make sure there's no giant leaks in here, and then we're gonna wrap this one up. I'm gonna take the information down off the walk-in box. It's a 9-door convenience store cooler, 9 glass doors, 1 main door, and I'll take the dimensions of the box so that way if he wants me to go ahead and get him a quote, we can do so. All right, that was a service call on a walk-in cooler for a convenience store. Like I said, it was a 9 glass door cooler with you know, just 1 big door on the side, 2 coils inside. It was low on charge, found a rather large leak on one of the distributor lines coming out of the expansion valve. You guys saw, I went ahead and was able to find that without even having to get my electronic leak detector out. Sometimes we can be lucky. I did, after all was said and done, leak check the other coil too. Nothing. It was just that one, but the other coil is just as bad a shape as the first one. So you guys saw, sometimes when you're brazing on these older systems, you know, you got to just blanket the thing with solder. So I used, you know, quite a bit of solder on that, more than you really should on a joint, but you just got to booger it up to make sure that everything's good. And you know, that also goes too when you're doing anything with a torch, you know, and you're going to braze on anything, you want to sand more than the area that you are working on, because oftentimes things happen. You may be laying some Sulfos on a joint, and you know, you may accidentally or inadvertently unbraze something else. You may cause another leak. So you always want to think the worst case scenario when you're getting ready to braze something, okay, and you want to sand the heck out of it. So, you know, I went ahead and sanded up that thing really thoroughly, laid solder all around it, up, top, and bottom, and everything. And you saw that I used that little Milwaukee rotary tool. That thing worked out really nice. Luckily, in the same parking lot as that convenience store was a Home Depot, so I just walked over there and picked that thing up with a little stainless steel brush on it, and, you know, was able to get right into those little nooks and crannies and get it all cleaned up. But anyways, you guys saw, and you know, not everything's perfect. So on this particular visit, I didn't get to change the liquid line dryer. I did go back. I talked to the customer and let him know that I wanted to come back on a day when it wasn't so wet outside. And he was cool with it. So we went back and just changed out the dryer, and we're in the process of giving him a quote to replace some evaporator coils. And, you know, that's pretty much it. Okay, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos, and we'll catch you on the next one, okay?